First story. My son broke his grounding and played the console. So I grounded my entitled daughter for snitching on her brother, excluded her from her sister's birthday party, and banned her from ever touching the console again to teach her sibling bonding. Now all my 3 kids have abandoned me, and I'm regretting my actions. I'm 47F and not from the US, so forgive any strange phrasing. I've got 3 kids. Milo 14M, Lena 12F, and Nina 21F. Nina has moved out and lives with her boyfriend, but she still visits weekly and stays close with her younger siblings, especially Lena. My husband 50M, and I try to keep a tight but fair household. We're not helicopter parents, but we do have discipline, especially with screens. A while back, we noticed the younger kids would rush through homework, or even lie about completing it just to get on the Switch or computer. After a few incidents, we set a hard rule: no games or computer until after 6 p.m. To enforce that, my husband started hiding the key to the tech room every day. He works later hours than me, so the kids have to call him to get the key. It's become part of their routine: finish homework, call dad, get the key, then play. It worked smoothly for months. Lena and Milo have the usual sibling dynamic, a bit of teasing, arguments over what to watch, or who gets to use the better controller. But mostly they get along. Lena's more bookish, Milo's more impulsive. If Lena's doing homework at the table, Milo's probably walking around the kitchen juggling oranges or messing with the cat. But there's love beneath all the noise, or so I believed. Now, to the incident. Earlier this week, I came home from work around 5:30. I noticed the switch dock light was on. Someone had been using it before the allowed time. I didn't say anything at first. Around 6:30, Lena came up to me with a kind of nervous confidence. She tells me that Milo found the key hours earlier, played the Switch for at least 45 minutes, then called dad pretending he didn't know where the key was just to make it look like he followed the rules. She said she watched him sneak in and out of the tech room, and when she asked him to share, he told her to go read a book. I went to Milo and asked directly. He tried denying it, gave me the classic teen stare and a "what are you even talking about?" But when I laid out what I knew, he cracked and admitted it. So I grounded both of them until Friday. No tech, not even TV. Milo's punishment was clear-cut. He lied, broke the system, and made an active effort to deceive us. But I grounded Lena too. And that's where things exploded. Why Lena too? Because where I come from, there's a deep cultural distaste for snitching. Denunciation, especially inside families, carries a heavy stigma here because of our history. Growing up, we were raised to settle things among ourselves. If your brother does something wrong, you talk to him first. You don't run to your parents with it unless it's dangerous. It's about loyalty, even when your sibling's being a little jerk. Plus, I had reason to believe Lena's motives weren't pure. A few months ago, we had a full-blown screaming match between them because Milo didn't want to give up his time slot. Lena told him, "You always cheat, and you always get away with it." He screamed back, "You're just mad I'm better at the game." After that, we made a detailed schedule. Each gets 1.5 hours of game time during weekdays. If they play together, that time counts at a reduced rate. It seemed to work. But ever since, Lena's barely asked to play together. Milo still tried sometimes, but usually she'd say no, claiming she doesn't want to deal with him. Fine, fair enough. But that old bitterness still lingers. When she came to me about Milo's rule breaking, it didn't feel like concern. It felt like revenge. So yes, I grounded her too. I told her it wasn't just about telling on him. It was that she didn't act in Milo's best interest, didn't try to resolve it with him, and likely wanted him punished so she could have more time without sharing. And that's not something I can reward. My husband agreed completely. That should have been the end of it. But of course, Nina came over for dinner the next night and noticed the tension. She asked why Lena looked miserable. When I explained everything, the rule, the sneakiness, the double grounding, Nina just stared at me like I was insane. Her exact words: "You're seriously punishing Lena for being honest." I tried to explain the cultural angle, the revenge motive, the past conflicts, but she wasn't having it. Nina sided hard with Lena, saying I was discouraging honesty and setting the wrong example. She said, "What happens next time if Milo steals something or does something actually serious? You think Lena's going to tell you now?" I told her that was different. But Nina wasn't convinced. She said, "If this is how I respond when one of my kids tells the truth, then next time, none of them will." She stormed off after dinner and hasn't texted me since. Now Lena's sulking in her room every night and won't speak unless asked a direct question. Milo's being weirdly smug, like even though he's grounded, he's glad Lena's in trouble too. That's another red flag in this whole thing. Nina's not speaking to me. My husband is brushing it off, saying they'll get over it. But it's been 3 days now, and the house feels tense. Milo's smugness kept getting worse. Every time I'd pass by, he'd be humming, almost like mocking the situation. I told him twice to cut it out, but he just shrugged. No apology, no regret, just irritation that he got caught. Meanwhile, Lena went full radio silence. No eye contact, no casual chatter, nothing. I tried talking to her Wednesday evening. I told her I didn't enjoy grounding her, that I was trying to teach both of them a lesson about how to deal with conflict. She said nothing, just stood up and left the room. Then came Thursday. That morning, I walked into the kitchen and found Milo trying to pick the lock to the tech room with a hairpin full on spy movie mode. When I told him to hand it over, he didn't even bother making an excuse. He said, "It's not fair. You grounded me anyway, so what's the point in following the rules now?" That hit hard, because it confirmed what I'd suspected. He didn't care about the rules, just the punishment. I sent him to his room for the rest of the evening. When I told my husband about it later, he said, "It's his way of pushing back. He'll stop eventually." But the thing is, Milo doesn't stop. Not unless he's made to. As for Lena, she started keeping her door closed 24/7. I knocked Thursday evening to tell her dinner was ready, and she didn't even answer. I had to open the door and repeat myself. She didn't look up from her notebook. She ate later, by herself, cleaned her own plate, and went back upstairs. I started to realize I hadn't just grounded her. I shut her down. Nina texted me Friday morning, the first contact since the dinner blow up. All she said was, "You're pushing her away. I hope it's worth it." That pissed me off. She doesn't live here. She didn't see the past months of sibling tension. She sees Lena as the sweet, studious kid and Milo as the troublemaker. And she assumes every decision we make should reflect that same bias. But life in a house with 2 teenagers isn't that simple. It's messy, layered, and reactive. Still, I couldn't deny the growing guilt. And I started asking myself, what exactly was Lena supposed to do? Talk to Milo? He already told her to get lost. Should she have argued with him? Maybe. But she's 12. Her options were limited. Maybe she did what she could. But then I go back to her tone. The way she told me what he did. Not worried. Not hurt. Just factual. Like a chess move. He cheated. Now take him off the board. That's what stuck with me. It wasn't about fairness. It felt like revenge. And revenge isn't something I can support, especially between siblings. I've seen too many families fall apart because grudges were allowed to take root early. My sister and I barely talked today because my mother always rewarded truth-telling without checking the motives behind it. I swore I'd raise my kids to be loyal to each other, not little spies waiting to catch each other slipping. I want Lena and Milo to grow up being able to trust each other. Right now, they can't even sit on the same couch. That's what this is really about. I don't want a household where every mistake becomes a weapon. Friday morning, just before school, Lena left a note on the table. "Don't worry. I won't tell on anyone anymore. Even if Milo steals from your wallet or takes Dad's keys, I'll keep it to myself like I'm supposed to. That way I won't get punished." That felt like a punch to the gut. It wasn't dramatic or emotional. It was dry, precise. She got the message loud and clear, but it wasn't the one I meant to send. She didn't learn loyalty. She learned silence. I stood there holding that note for a full 5 minutes. So now I'm sitting here, writing this out, and I'm torn. Milo broke the rule, lied about it, and then tried to justify breaking it again because he was grounded anyway. If that doesn't scream entitlement, I don't know what does. But Lena, maybe she was acting selfishly, maybe not. Maybe she was tired of Milo skirting the rules. Maybe she snapped. I didn't give her the benefit of the doubt. I assumed the worst. And now Nina's furious. Lena's withdrawn. Milo's still playing dumb and pushing limits. And I feel like this whole thing spiraled because I tried too hard to treat both kids equally when maybe they didn't deserve the same treatment in this case. So I'm here asking. Ada for grounding both of my kids, one for breaking a rule and the other for reporting it. I thought I was teaching them a lesson about loyalty. But now I wonder if I just taught them not to speak up or worse, not to trust me. Comments. Comment 1. YTA. And you messed up hard here. You're trying to parent using some Cold War-era loyalty code like you're raising KGB agents instead of kids. Don't snitch on family. That logic works if your family's worth trusting. But Milo lied to your face and faked a phone call to his dad. That's not harmless, that's manipulative. You think Lena should have talked it out with him? He already told her to go read a book. He refused to share, broke a rule, and then acted smug about it. You grounded Lena not because she did something wrong, but because she embarrassed you by showing the family rule system isn't bulletproof. You punished the truth teller because it disrupted the peace. Congratulations, now you've raised a kid who won't tell you jack sht, even if her brother lights the damn house on fire. Also, your husband sounds passive as hell. He'll get over it? You've got one kid going feral and the other emotionally checking out. And he's doing the parenting equivalent of shrugging. And let me guess, next time Milo lies or cheats, you'll discipline both again. Because clearly the one trying to keep the rules intact is the real problem. Get real. Comment 2. Hard YTA. And I say that as a mom. Lena told the truth and got punished for it. That's it. That's the whole story. Everything else, cultural values, past fights, gaming schedules, you're throwing in to justify bad parenting. Your kid lied. That's the root issue. He lied and got caught. And instead of handling that, you shifted the focus onto Lena like she did something wrong. You say you grounded her for motive that you suspect she tattled to get more time. Guess what? You don't get to punish based on suspicions. That's how you break trust with your kids. Now you've taught Lena 2 things. 1, honesty gets punished. And 2, if your parents think they know what's in your head, that's enough to lock you down. I get trying to keep peace in the house. But you just made sure the next time Lena sees Milo do something wrong, she'll stay silent and resent you for it. You owe your daughter an apology, and not the half-arsed. I was just trying to teach you a lesson type either. Fix it. Comment 3. YTA. You grounded a kid for telling the truth because you think you know her motives better than she does. Think about that for a second. Lena saw a rule broken. She followed the chain of authority you put in place. She didn't scream, didn't manipulate, and didn't even demand you do anything. She just told you what happened. And your takeaway? Betrayal. Better punish both. This isn't Game of Thrones. She's 12. She's not scheming for the Iron Throne. She's a kid who's sick of her brother getting away with SHT, and from the sound of it, he usually does. Honestly, it sounds like you and your husband both cater to Milo's behavior, because it's easier than confronting the fact that your son is, frankly, kind of a manipulative little brat right now. Lena's note should have been your wake-up call. It was mature, clear, and terrifyingly cold for a 12-year-old. That wasn't spite. That was detachment. And once a kid checks out like that emotionally, good luck getting them to open up again. You want loyalty? Then stop punishing the only kid in your house actually showing integrity. Fix this before it cements into something permanent. Update. Thanks to everyone who commented on my post. I wasn't expecting this many responses, and while a lot of them were harsh, they did force me to look at things differently. I wish I could say things got better after that post, but they didn't. About a week after the incident, Lena's school called. Her teacher said her focus had dropped, and she scored unusually low on a recent science test, not failing, but noticeably below her usual level. The teacher asked if something was going on at home. That was a wake-up call. I knew she was mad at me, but I hadn't realized how much it was affecting her day to day. I brought it up with my husband that evening, and his reaction was the complete opposite of mine. Instead of softening the rules or trying to rebuild trust, he doubled down. He said if she was slacking in school, it proved our approach wasn't strict enough. He banned Lena from using the Switch or computer completely for the rest of the month, even after the original grounding was over. She argued back, which is rare for her. She said it was unfair, that Milo got away with worse, and we were punishing her for something that started with him. She said she was sick of living in a house where telling the truth gets you grounded, and that she didn't feel like she had any freedom. Then she muttered something like, "This family would be happier if I wasn't in it," and walked off. That stuck with me more than I'd like to admit. Milo, for his part, seemed to enjoy the fallout. He wasn't gloating as obviously as before, but he acted like he'd won something, more relaxed, more smug, more of that, "you can't really punish me" energy. I should have taken that more seriously. 2 weeks later, I was putting away laundry and noticed the tech room door was slightly open. We always keep it locked, so I checked. Switch was gone. The computer was on. I ran downstairs and found Milo playing. I demanded the key, and he pulled out a small silver one, not the one we use. He'd made a copy. I lost it. I yelled. I asked where the hell he got it. He smirked and said he made it at that DIY key booth in the mall. He said he took the real key weeks ago, made a duplicate, and had been hiding it in the lining of his hoodie. He only got caught because I did laundry early. That's not even the worst part. When I confronted Lena later, she admitted she knew he had the key. She found out after catching him sneaking out of the room late at night to play. When I asked why she didn't say anything, her answer was cold. Why would I? I'm just the snitch, remember? That stung. I blew up. I shouted at both of them. I told Milo he was becoming a liar and a thief, because yes, using a fake key to sneak into a locked room is crossing a line. I told Lena that withholding that kind of information made her just as complicit this time. I laid it out clearly. If either of them ever did something like this outside our house, they could get arrested. Forging keys to access private rooms. That's not a game. They both got grounded again. No screen time, no phones, no visits to friends' houses. Milo's friends, in particular, got banned. I'd overheard one of them on a call telling him how to break in without triggering your mom. That was the last straw. That evening, we were in the middle of another argument when Lena snapped. She shouted that we treat her like a criminal for being honest, that Milo can lie and cheat and it's fine, and that she was tired of living like a prisoner. Then she yelled, "This family hates me," and stormed into her room. I wanted to talk to her, but Milo chose that moment to mouth off again. He said, "You act like we stole from you. We bought those games with our money. You have no right to lock them up like we're toddlers." I told him yes, they bought the games, but using gift money, birthday cash, and earnings under our roof, which means we still control access. We're not confiscating what they own. We're regulating usage like any parent should. He wasn't hearing it. Eventually, I just grounded him and told him this wasn't a debate. And to drive the point home, I canceled our weekend plans. We were supposed to do a family outing for Nina's birthday, a small thing at a park with a cake and lunch out. Instead, I told them, if you two can't behave, we don't deserve fun as a family. That probably made things worse. Nina was furious. She came by the next day to pick up her birthday gift and asked why the whole family had to be punished. I explained it was about unity consequences everyone feels, and she said, "All you're doing is proving to Lena she's right. She is being punished for her brother's actions. Now the house is a mess. Lena avoids us, unless it's to eat or do schoolwork. Milo's grounded and sulking, and Nina is barely speaking to either of us. My husband still believes we're doing the right thing, that we're teaching them hard lessons, now to keep them from worse mistakes later. I'm not so sure anymore. I tried to be consistent. I tried to treat both kids fairly. But now I'm watching one kid drift away emotionally, and the other push every boundary we've set. I honestly don't know what fair looks like anymore when the trust is gone on all sides. Still not sure if I was right, or if I just made everything worse." Comments. Comment 1. YTA. And I hope you really sit with that, because you just taught your daughter the #1 rule in your house. Keep your mouth shut and survive. Not, come to us if something's wrong. Not, we'll figure it out together. Nah. You burned that bridge twice, once when you punished her for being honest, and again when she kept quiet and still got slammed. What the hell do you want from her? You punish her when she tells the truth. You punish her when she doesn't. She's 12. You're giving her 2 choices. Become a liar or become a ghost in her own home. Great job. You're manufacturing your own estrangement, one messed up power move at a time. And Milo, he's clocked all of this. He knows you've got no real control over him. He made a effing key, OP. He literally planned a workaround for your rules, and you're still trying to treat this like a teachable moment. He's not learning a lesson. He's learning how to win. So yeah, enjoy the next few years of getting zero insight into what either kid's actually thinking. You earned that silence. Comment 2. YT again. And I say that as someone who wants to be on your side. You're parenting from fear and damage control, not leadership. Lena tried to play by your rules once and got punished for it. So now she's just given up. What the hell else did you expect? You said she mutters that the family hates her and that she's better off gone, and you still keep doubling down like this is a game of chess. This is a little girl who's emotionally checking out, and you're too focused on who did what first. Milo is a manipulator, and he's been handed every opportunity to get worse. Fake key, sneaking around, smug attitude. That's not normal teenage rebellion. That's a kid who knows he can needle everyone in face. Nothing but verbal lectures and grounding that doesn't even hit him emotionally. And canceling Nina's birthday plans. Real mature. You made your adult daughter's day about proving a point. That's not parenting. That's pettiness disguised as family values. No wonder she's distancing herself. I would too. You're not running a prison. You're raising people. And right now, you're failing at both. Comment 3. The worst part in this is you screwed up with her. But instead of course correcting, you dug in harder. Now you've got a kid who feels hated, another one who's openly defiant, and a daughter who doesn't even want to spend her birthday with you. And this pattern, it doesn't stop. You punish Lena for snitching, then you punish her for not snitching. So now she's locked in a no-win situation where anything she does leads to the same end: punishment. I give it 2 years before she stops telling you anything meaningful. You'll ask if things are okay, and she'll smile, nod, and go right back to hating every second under your roof. By the time you realize you've lost her, she'll be emotionally 10 countries away. Rebuild, or accept that she's going to shut you out for good. And when will Milo implode next? Don't look to her for help. She learned her lesson. Update. Things have gone worse than I ever imagined. I thought the punishments, the rules, the boundaries we set, all of it, was to raise decent, respectful kids. But now, every one of them has walked out of this house. And I honestly don't know if they'll ever come back. It started with Lena, again. A few weeks after the last incident, I noticed she kept staying out late after school. She told me it was a study group or clubs, but something felt off. I checked with the school, turns out, no such clubs. Her teacher confirmed she'd been seen leaving school alone. No group work, no supervision. I confronted her, and she just shrugged and said, "I don't want to come home. What's the point?" I asked where she was going. She said she'd just been sitting in the public library. One time, she even went to Nina's apartment without telling us. I grounded her again. She didn't even protest this time. Just said, "Fine. It's not like I'm free here anyway." At the same time, I discovered the switch was missing. I knew I hadn't unlocked the tech room, and neither had my husband. After some digging, we found out Milo had smuggled it out and given it to a friend for safekeeping. Claimed we had no right to touch it since he bought it with his own saved-up money. This is the 3rd time he's pulled this kind of stunt. He's learnt nothing. That was the final straw for my husband. He dragged Milo by the collar and threw him out the front door. Then he took a garbage bag, filled it with the stuff Milo kept claiming as his, and dumped it in the driveway. He told him that if he wanted independence so badly, he could go live elsewhere. It wasn't pretty. There was yelling, more than there should have been. I won't pretend that moment wasn't ugly. Lena tried to intervene, told us we were insane, and when we told her to stay out of it, she ran upstairs, grabbed a small backpack, and walked out with Milo. A few hours later, Nina came over with my stepsister, Adina 48F. We don't talk often, but she's close to Nina and has always been the calm mediator type. She asked to speak with me and my husband privately. I thought maybe she was going to help smooth things over. Instead, she laid into us. She said our kids had come to her directly, and they no longer felt safe or emotionally supported in our house. That Nina had offered to take Lena in temporarily, but Adina insisted Lena stay with her because she wanted someone older and more stable who wasn't already stretched thin. And the kicker: Milo's staying there too. My own stepsister, backing my kids in leaving us. She told us plainly that Lena and Milo had made it clear they didn't want to return. That if we forced them, it would only drive them away forever. My husband was furious, said they're underage. We still have rights. He wanted to contact a lawyer, maybe try to bring them home through family court. But I couldn't do it. I know we're within our rights. But deep down, I also know if we do that, we'll lose them for good. They'll resent us for dragging them back. And we'll just be confirming every fear they already have about us, that we don't care what they want, only what they obey. We didn't even get a chance to explain. I begged Nina and begged Adina for just one family meeting. One more chance to fix this. They both refused, told me the kids made it clear. No more talks. No more fake apologies. They're done. Adina is now sending updates every few days. She's got Lena enrolled in therapy through school. Lena said her grades are stable again, and she's been attending all her classes. Milo is in a structured study program to make up for missed assignments. He's also seeing a counselor. Adina says they're both calm, focused, and not acting out. That hurt more than anything, because it means the problem wasn't school or friends or hormones, it was us. And yet, I can't help but feel this rage. We didn't beat them. We didn't starve them. We didn't scream at them every day. We gave them food, a clean house, and rules to live by. Where we come from, physical punishment is still very common, and we chose not to raise our kids that way. We thought we were progressive. And now I look around and wonder if we were too soft. Maybe we should have done things the old way. Maybe if we'd scared some discipline into them, this wouldn't have happened. Because instead, we tried to teach consequences, and all we raised were children who call us tyrants because we locked up a damn game console. I don't recognize these kids anymore. They call us toxic, controlling, even abusive. But they never went hungry. They were never hit. They got birthday gifts, clothes, internet, and phones. They were treated with respect, unless they lied or disrespected us first. And now they're acting like we ran a prison camp. I know Reddit will just keep telling me I got what I deserved. That I should self-reflect. That I need therapy. Maybe they're right. Maybe I did mess up. But I still can't wrap my head around how this spiraled from a broken switch rule into all 3 of my kids walking out of our lives. I don't know if they'll come back. I don't know if I'd recognize them if they did. Comments. Comment 1. You're so obsessed with your idea of discipline that you don't realize you've created a home your kids were desperate to escape. You didn't need to hit them to do damage. Emotional neglect, favoritism, and control disguised as fairness. That'll do it. You punished Lena for speaking up, then punished her again for staying quiet. So she learned. No matter what she does, she loses. Milo. He's not innocent. But he responded the only way that made sense. He lied and rebelled. Because that's how he got control back in a house where his voice didn't matter either. You keep saying you gave them food and structure. Cool. A prison does that too. What you didn't give them was space to fail without being humiliated, or to have their feelings respected. And now you want to cry about how they're living peacefully with someone else who does. Spare us. Comment 2. I don't know what's more shocking, that you still think you didn't do anything that bad, or that you seriously considered using physical punishment in hindsight. Like, how far up your own arse are you? You escalated minor issues into full-blown wars. Your husband threw your kid out over a game console and a power struggle. Let that sit for a second. They didn't run away because they're brats. They left because you kept pushing them into corners, and then acted confused when they stopped trusting you. Lena faked study groups to sit in a library. That's a effing cry for help, if I've ever seen one. And Milo. You punished him for resisting your control. That's it. You think your rules are about respect, but they're really about compliance. And when compliance broke down, you burned the house down emotionally. Now your kids have found peace somewhere else. Instead of being happy they're okay, you're mad they're doing fine without you. Comment 3. Honestly, I feel bad for Nina in all of this. She tried to mediate. She warned you over and over. And what did you do? Cancel her birthday outing to make some weird moral point. That was the beginning of the end. She probably remembers every time you played favorites, or let her take the emotional load growing up. And now you're doing it again. This time with her younger siblings. You say Adina sided with the kids like it's a betrayal. Maybe consider that 2 adult women who know your family well both looked at your parenting and said, nope. Also, your husband physically dragging Milo out was abusive, full stop. And you just let that happen. Do you even realize the damage that did? The fact that both kids left that same night and haven't come back says everything. If you want them back, don't go to court. Don't throw more rules at them. Just listen for once. And start with apologizing to the one person who's been screaming the truth at you the longest. Nina. Second story. My dad's wife cheated with her sister's husband, so my dad had a revenge affair. Both women got pregnant, and my dad only claimed one as his and abandoned my cousin. Now my estranged cousin demands I do a DNA test and help her. Throwaway account. Based on the title, you can tell that my family situation is pretty crazy. I 21F am technically a revenge affair baby. My dad 47M was married to my aunt 45F, who was cheating on him with my mum's 42F then husband, James 42M. I'm not sure about all the details. I honestly don't really care to ask because yuck. But during their mutual divorces my dad and my mum had a fling which produced me. There was a DNA test, and after I was proven to be my dad's, he happily claimed me and signed the birth certificate. He didn't sign my cousin Amanda's 21F birth certificate and went back to his other country. My dad has dual citizenship to avoid child support for her. Since she was born while my aunt was still his legal wife, he was presumed to be the father, and James took off. Because of all the drama, my mum and I were estranged from my aunt and Amanda. So my aunt and Amanda thought for years that my dad had abandoned me too, when in reality I took regular trips to see my dad in his mother's country, met most of his relatives, and can even speak the language at a high intermediate level. My mum made it clear that I was free to seek out a relationship with Amanda once I was old enough to drive, but warned me that there could be drama. I tried reaching out at 17, but she acted like she was so much better because she grew up in a two-parent household my aunt remarried, while it was just me and my mum, and I washed my hands of it. We never followed each other on social media, and I never told my mum's side of the family about my other social media platforms. So I was able to keep my relationship with my father private until, I guess, Amanda or someone Amanda knew saw a picture of me with one of my paternal cousins online, and it set everything in motion. I didn't want to put in or maintain the effort to lie, so I made a long text message and sent it to a group chat with several members of my mum's family. Since my mum's and aunt's respective marriages were a taboo topic, there was a firm, don't talk about it mindset. So a lot of people just assumed my mum was doing it all on her own, when really my dad was sending child support and having a relationship with me. Amanda and my aunt are now demanding that I give them my dad's contact info and his address in the country that he's in and do a DNA test to prove that we're siblings, and then take it to my dad. But here's the thing. Amanda was formally adopted by her stepdad when she was 17. I don't like the idea of my giving my genetic information to a private company unless absolutely needed. There's nothing stopping her from doing something like 23andMe to match with my paternal side. My dad's side of the family knows about Amanda, and they don't seem interested in knowing her. Amanda is still being pretty awful to me, so I don't feel like doing anything to help her. So knowing all of this, Ada. Comments. Comment 1. Whatever you do, love, don't spit on her. 1. She's not worth it. 2. She might test it. NTA. Comment 2. Simple. Your bodily DNA is your choice. This is not your problem. I'm sure you are a good person who wants to do the right thing. Maybe give Amanda's contact info to your dad and let him deal with it. It is his problem, not yours. You shouldn't be in the middle of this situation. Comment 3. How was Amanda able to be adopted without the supposed father's consent? OP. From what I was told, since my dad left the county and never paid child support or had contact with Amanda, his rights were terminated under legal abandonment, especially since there was a man willing to step in for Amanda. It took a few years, and an attempt at a legal notice was sent, and my dad's lack of a response was taken as him not contesting the process. Update. Also TLDR. An estranged cousin that I've never had a good relationship with wants me to take a DNA test to prove that we share the same dad. Hello. Just wanted to give a quick update. May give one more depending on how this ends. If it ends. So here it goes. I told my cousin Amanda that she should do the ancestry thing to see who she matches with, and that I'd pass along her info to my dad, and that I was wiping my hands clean of the situation after that before blocking her. I did pass along her contact info to my dad, and told him Amanda and his ex-wife my aunt their intentions, as well as the news that Amanda was formally adopted after the courts declared that my dad abandoned her. As of right now, my dad has no intentions of ever going back to the US for any reason, and he is a citizen through my grandma. However, he did check with his lawyers, and he basically told me that he'd agreed to doing a DNA test on the condition that my aunt and Amanda sign a legal document absolving him of any child support he owed before Amanda was legally adopted, and that Amanda will have no claims on any of his property or assets when he passes. My dad has made it clear that he's not overly concerned if Amanda and my aunt don't agree, but would prefer to settle this just in case of potential issues in the future. I also spoke to my paternal grandmother. My paternal grandfather passed away years ago, and she said that she's never liked my aunt, is glad that my dad left her with as little money as possible, and that she can't be expected to love and care for a potential grandchild she's never met. Given that my grandmother didn't even like me until I was about 3, this is in character for her. The rest of my father's maternal side seem to be of the same mindset, and will only consider talking to Amanda once she can prove she's related. Comments. Comment 1. So bio-dad's wife had an affair with her sister's husband, and during that time got pregnant. Could be the bio-dad's child, could be the affair partner's, or, who knows, maybe some other dude. Meanwhile, the bio-dad and the other betrayed spouse, his wife's sister, get even by hooking up. And OP is the product of that union. All I know for sure is that 22 years ago Jerry Springer's show was still on the air, and they missed a humdinger of a storyline. Comment 2. I absolutely would not do a DNA test, unless that's exactly what you want to do. Amanda can demand this of your father without you being involved. There's no reason for you to know any of this, or be part of it. Her mother can hire an investigator to find your father if she wants to. She could have done it 21 years ago, but chose not to. Let them deal with it, and wash your hands of it. Comment 3. Read the original post, and I'll stick with my original comment. your NTA, and not liable to provide Amanda with your DNA for a comparative paternity test. There's a greater likelihood that James is her father than your dad also being her father. Maybe she should ask her mother where James is to have him provide her with a paternity test report. Good luck. DBA = delete, block and avoid contact with her and your aunt. And besides, unless she has a genetic malady, she needs to backtrack to its origin. Can't her adoptive stepdaddy deal with her needs, as he is legally her father after her adoption? Thank you for watching the video. If you are interested in listening to these kinds of stories, we've got more in store for you. Simply subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends.